Separated by cosmic cabinets, Brandon, Paul, Logan, and David Conman RDW are here to talk about some Detective Pikachu on the Nintendo Stuff podcast, episode 40, guys.
Wow, we're old.
It's a milestone.
Pikachu can say bad words.
Wait, we've been doing this for 40 years?
Yes, we do this once a year, and this is the 40th year we've done it.
Wow.
At a
so
crisp
happy
25
anniversary,
years of age.
Gentlemen.
Wow.
Oh, it's literally been a year now?
Oh, it's been over a year.
Oh,
Yeah, it's been over a year.
We're, what, a year and 3 months?
Something like that. I
sounds
stopped
about
keeping
right.
track. Because it doesn't matter, because I'm just having so much fun all the time.
Yeah.
That's the spirit.
Guys in the chat, just let us know if we sound okay as we get started here this morning.
It's okay, because I sound even more amazing than the rest of you guys, so.
Got to get up on that mic, Paul. You got to eat that stuff.
Only for you.
Do you just have like a... Are you using a mic arm, or are you using just a tabletop stand?
I use an arm.
Okay.
How's that?
Yeah,
That's better.
I like getting up and close and personal.
Oh, you
and I
too.
like being able to
Increase
like
your volume.
let
I was
you
gonna
guys
have
know
this-
that, like, I sound like I'm with you guys.
This break room
I feel like you're
ASMR
right
thing
here.
could probably take off.
I am.
I'm just
So-
gonna have this mic right in my face for the rest of the podcast, just right here.
Perfect. So, guys, we've been waiting for Detective Pikachu for quite some time. It's funny.
Yeah, like a whole month.
Yes,
Only a month?
whole month.
A whole month.
We've been talking
Ever since
about
that
this.
debut trailer, man.
Well, we've been talking about it even since before then on this show. A long time, actually, because
A live-action Pokemon movie? What?
when was our first podcast about it? Like a year ago?
I think it was like when they first mentioned it, maybe like last fall, probably.
Yeah, so we've kind of been on the train here for most of the ride, and it's kind of weird to have been past the movie now that we've all seen it.
That one kind of snuck up on there. Like, Avengers hype was just carrying me for so long, and then, oh, hey, it's Detective Pikachu this weekend. Oh, yeah, that's happening.
This was pretty great for me because, like, I can't remember the last time I saw a movie in the theaters. Honestly, I can't remember the last time I watched a movie was like a week and a half ago, and it was Gremlins.
I haven't seen any games yet, but I went to see Detective Pikachu day one, so that's how.
I like
that's
your
how excited I was.
priorities.
Oh yeah, and like, yes, I mean, I don't really know what to say about it other than like I kind of loved it. I'm kind of so
movie.
glad that it happened,
That's
and I'm
good.
kind of glad that I was able to get out of the house, actually get myself to get away from my computer screen and actually go see a movie for once.
All it took was a little bit of pressuring from me to get you to go.
Well,
I can just imagine that conversation.
That's all I
Go
need, right?
see Pikachu.
Because it's like I wanted to do it, and then I did it. And I was pleasantly surprised when I walked up. They scanned my QR code on my phone, and I got one of these.
Oh, that pack of Detective Pikachu cards.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I haven't opened mine.
Oh, are we getting a live?
We gotta crack a
Yes.
pack on stream.
So, and here I had this discussion because I didn't know this was happening. So I was not only surprised, I was quite like, oh. I don't even play the trading card game. I think maybe when I was a kid I played it like once or twice with some friends, but like for most of my life, how do I get it open? I don't want to ruin the nice baggie.
There's
Be
a part
careful.
at the back you can tear it down.
Yeah, like I was saying before the stream even went up, they've had like a collection of Detective Pikachu cards promoting the movie for about a month and a half now, and it's actually a pretty cool collection of cards. They have like a Greninja GX pack, a Mewtwo GX pack, a Charizard GX pack, and then there's a Detective Pikachu set that comes with a binder, and then there's like a cool little lunchbox set that comes with an enamel pen, and that's the one that I got.
Yeah, I've been eyeing that every
It's
time I've
actually
gone
a
to
really
Target.
good price for $25. It's actually a steal of a deal. You get like 7 packs of cards plus like 2 extra packs from a different expansion, and then you get like a notepad.
How popular is the trading card game still? 'Cause,
Still
they
very,
come out with
still
they
very.
come out with like cards like all the time. Like I remember to working at
Yeah.
Target and just constantly seeing like tons of Pokemon.
Yeah, another
stuff.
expansion just came out a couple weeks ago.
And there's a yearly world championship that's
Mhm.
live streamed. Like
Yeah,
it's a
the
big
Pokemon like championships are still really huge.
Oh,
Like
Yeah.
I
you
didn't
think
just
it'd
buy a
be
starter pack
yeah,
like
no.
2 weeks ago. What?
It's a nice card.
so to everybody's surprise, I got Detective Pikachu. Uh,
What? No way.
We got Psyduck.
No way.
Psyduck boys.
Psyduck boys.
I was also
Migraine
blessed with a
boys.
Psyduck.
I just got dabbing Jigglypuff.
I got Magikarp in mine. And then my
I was sitting
girlfriend,
next
she
to
got,
Josiah,
Oh, man.
our friend Josiah, in the theater when he opened his pack, and he pulled out a Magikarp, and he said, "I got a Magikarp." It was very funny.
and then my girlfriend, she got.
Wait,
a
was
Bulbasaur in
that
hers.
before you guys watched the movie?
Yeah, he opened it in. We opened our packs in the theater to have something to talk about,
Okay.
waiting for the movie to start.
Yeah.
So, outside of the Pokemon cards, well, I guess I should mention this. They gave out Pokemon cards for Pokemon the first movie way back when, and I think they've done it with pretty much all the Pokemon movies. So this was
Yeah.
a nice little callback to that, especially if you were a young kid when you got to do that the first time.
Well, it's a good thing I'm only 25.
So, I want to talk about the way this movie opens really quickly. This will be a full spoiler discussion, so if you don't want to know what happens in the movie...
Oh, we're going all in.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
this is all
I'll
in.
talk to you guys.
Oh, okay.
So if you don't want to know if you haven't seen the movie yet, maybe click away and come back after you've seen it. But the movie opens with Mewtwo escaping from a pod, much like he does in Pokemon the first movie.
Mewtwo's in this movie?
Mewtwo! Wow!
Yeah, they kind of make that really clear right off the bat. Hey guys, Mewtwo's in. Like, if you hadn't seen any of the trailers, like, you wouldn't have to watch 2 seconds of this film to be like, oh, Mewtwo's
It's very
The
in.
gang is all
forward.
here.
Yeah, they're not hiding Mewtwo in this movie at all. And if you've played Pokemon Detective Pikachu on 3DS, you would also know that Mewtwo plays a role in the story.
Wait, there's a game based off the movie?
Wow, yes.
I
I
do want to come back to that later, though, because I do have a question, because you've played the game, right, Brandon?
Yeah. I am the one person on the entire planet who's played Detective Pikachu.
You have that physically, right?
Yes.
Can I borrow that?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
I just want you guys to, like, reach across the screen. It's just like, here,
Yeah,
give it to me. Okay, cool. And Paul pulls it out the other side.
I will say, just right off the bat, it is a pretty faithful adaptation of that game.
That was
Okay,
my
cool,
question,
cool.
actually.
That said, I don't think the game completes the entire story of the movie. It leaves off on a cliffhanger, if I understand correctly. I'm not completely done with it, but according to Michaela, who has beaten it, it doesn't end the same way. But I want to talk about the opening scene with Tim, where he's hiding with his friend in the grass, looking at a Cubone, and his friend's like egging him on to capture the Cubone. And I was like, what a perfect start to this movie. Every single Pokemon RPG starts with someone teaching you how to capture a Pokemon.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's a great way to start this live action adaptation.
Also,
what a great friend.
Yeah.
right? It's like, hey man, you're working in insurance in the world of Pokemon. Get a Pokemon. What do you do?
There are way better things than working in insurance.
Yeah, you could just catch Pokemon, and that's like a realistic path. Like, you don't have to worry about food or anything like that. You just start catching Pokemon, man.
When
And
the
just
owner
start
was,
like making them
bragging
battle.
on him about being insurance and like, what promotion is there? You gonna be the
Like-
supervisor of insurance adjuster?
That's actually like
That made me laugh way harder than it should
No,
have.
no, I do like how like this kind of sets like up a contrast as well to what Rhyme City is, you know, where it's like everybody, they're all free and they just coexist in peace, you know.
Yes. So that town was more like a traditional Pokemon town where there's like trainers and Pokeballs and stuff. And that was actually the only Pokeball scene in the whole movie, which was interesting to me. I was like, I get it, but
it was there. I'm glad it was there. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, let's get everybody familiar. Everybody knows what it's like. Oh, if you know Pokemon, you know that you throw Pokeballs to catch the Pokemon. So let's establish that. Let's have a funny little scene. And
It was definitely there to address, you know, what we all know Pokemon is to all the fans of Pokemon who went to see the movie. Because there are a lot of people who don't know anything about Detective Pikachu. They don't know it was a game. They don't know that kind of stuff. So just kind of like starting with Mewtwo, which I imagine a lot of Pokemon fans are aware of, and then capturing Pokemon is a nice slow entry into what the movie actually is.
Yeah. I came back, you know, last night from seeing the film, and I talked to my roommate for a minute, and he asked if it fit within the canon of Pokemon. And I was like, you know, that's an interesting question. I don't think there's any characters like in the film that are like precisely like
yeah, like even like
characters
team
like there's not really even a lot of overlap between like, okay, this is just
There
Pokemon
was
stuff.
except for them mentioning
there
like
was one.
Kanto.
Right, you
But,
mentioned
like-
the different regions, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's completely possible that
Well, they
like
mentioned
some-
Mewtwo escaping 20 years ago, and then they
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so that is the same Mewtwo that you capture in the Cerulean Cave in Red and Blue. Assuming
I'm
this
gonna
is
guess
the game canon.
Red failed.
Yeah,
Red
Is
did
there
not
only
capture
one
Mewtwo.
or did they make more?
There's one.
it's
I
one
think.
Mewtwo.
Okay.
So when Mewtwo reappears in like later games, it's the same Mewtwo that has either never been caught or he's escaped.
Right.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say, how did you guys feel? Like, cause I felt like I was smiling so hard when this movie was opening, when they were like establishing the scene with Tim's town, because with most video game movies or movies where there's characters from a fictional world coming to a real world, there's like let's take the Sonic movie for example, trash movie. So Sonic is in the real world, and they're trying to make it seem like it's real, but there's like real birds and other real animals in this world most likely, but this is the Pokemon world. There are no real birds, there are no real dogs, there's Pokemon. So to see the pan shot
No.
where it's just Pidgeys and
the
Pidgeotto flying
Pidgeys
through the
are
air.
the real birds.
Yes. Yeah, that's the real birds in that world are
And the
Pokemon.
Robins are like the Pokemon version.
Yeah,
of
like
Robin.
sparrows and everything. Every
Yeah.
single animal in this world is a Pokemon, and I was like, "This is exactly what I imagined the Pokemon world being."
I had a
Like,
big
that
gooey
was
smile on
too
my
It's a
face
squirrel
when those
mouse.
Pidgey were flying.
Yeah.
by.
I was holding my girlfriend's hand, and we were both like just trying to express
Yeah,
our
exactly
excitement
what was happening
silently.
to me.
I was like, "Oh, they're real!
And I saw like the Doduos in the field. I was like, "Yeah, Doduos, oh, Booflets!" Ooh, I was like losing my mind.
Every time there was a Growlithe on screen, I just wanted to cuddle one so badly. They were so adorable, and like the way their fur would just kind of like bounce as they walked.
We
Oh,
got to see quite a bit of that. It was just Pokemon
Just in the
existing in the
scenes.
world. Yeah.
just
Yeah.
chilling.
Oh yeah, like they set up like the entire like, you know, front section of the movie with like here's Mewtwo, and then here's like a bunch of wildlife. Like this is what it's like. There's just all these Pokemon everywhere doing what like just animals do, you know, in the real world.
Yeah.
And they're just like, okay, this is the real world for them. It's like the Pokemon, you know.
Uh-huh.
And then in Rhyme City, we got to see some Pokemon who were workers, who were doing jobs. Like we had
Uh-huh.
Machamp, who was directing.
Yeah.
Crossing
traffic.
guard. Yeah.
Yeah. Or was it Machoke?
It was
No,
Machamp.
it was Machamp, yeah. And then when Tim first escapes the Apom with Detective Pikachu, and they're walking down, and he's like having a schizophrenic attack in front of all these people. We see like these Charmanders who are using their tails to
Working the grill.
to work the grill. Yeah, I loved that.
Yeah.
Or
I
there's that
honestly
scene-
wish there was more of that in the movie because it kind of peters out as the movie goes on.
Yeah.
But there's also like some parts where it's kind of like in your face, like when you go to like that underground like battle arena,
Yeah.
and they have
The loungers with speakers.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is great.
The
This is-
beatboxing
this is
Loudreds were wonderful. Yeah, the applications for the Pokemon in this movie were really good. We've never quite seen them like this. Even like with the anime, it's usually pretty standard. Pokemon are our friends. That's really all they do. But no, they're a part of life here in Rhyme City, and that was kind of awesome to see.
Yeah.
So but we can talk about Pokemon a little bit more here going forward, but I do want to take some time to talk about just the general plot of the movie. The story of Tim Goodman, who's
Has
past
dimension. Wow.
whose past maybe isn't entirely explored the greatest, at least in my opinion, but
Yeah.
you find out that he has like turned away from the world of Pokemon after the death of his mother, and his father leaving. And he's got like a stagnated relationship with his dad because his dad cared more about Pokemon than him. I kind of wish they had gone more into that a little bit, because I really had no frame of reference for that. Like, we got very brief flashbacks that didn't
Yeah.
say a
Throughout
whole
most of the
lot.
movie, I was just like, wait a minute. Okay. Okay. I think I get it. I get the general idea. Yeah.
Yeah. I wish they had just hit that a little harder, but
Uh-huh.
big spoiler, but show of hands, how many people just knew that Harry was Pikachu the whole time?
I'm raising my hand as I'm talking right now.
I honestly nope.
Like, I didn't play the game, but I was like, obviously, dad goes missing. Pikachu wearing your dad's hat. Duh. So like, I was like not surprised at all, but I was like,
I
cool.
honestly didn't see it until like the point that like, oh, like all these people are turning into Pokemon.
Even then,
at the
that's
very
when it
end,
should have clicked for
because-
me, and it still didn't occur to me. Like, oh, hey, maybe that's what happened.
Yeah. But
So,
and
yeah.
then after like it happened, yeah, that's the big spoiler, right? That's the like end of the
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's Ryan Reynolds was his dad the entire time.
I
I wish Ryan
thought
Reynolds was my dad the entire time.
I thought it was kind of clear, because like
Andy.
every time they talked about Harry, they specifically didn't show his face, and I was like,
Focused on
that's because it's
Pikachu.
Ryan Reynolds. But yeah, I went into this movie knowing that Pikachu was Harry just because of the video game. Not really a big surprise, kind of predictable, but that's fine. I really liked the whole thing with Mewtwo being able to put people inside of Pokemon. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah. That basically awakened my mind to go Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Like, hello?
Hey, now we're talking. I'd be into that.
I honestly, what I had thought before like the very ending had happened, what I thought was like, okay, well, he put his dad into his Pikachu, right? Because like that body's gone. Like he just like it is.
Oh, like
his
the
dad
dad's
died, the
dead,
body
so I'm
was
gonna put his
useless, and so
soul.
now he's just
Yeah.
like perpetually stuck
Yeah.
in
Same.
Pikachu. And I was like, okay, I guess he gets to take the Pikachu as his dad now.
Dad
That's what I thought they were going for.
Papachu.
Little did I know.
Yeah, same. That confused me a little too.
So Tim eventually runs into the reporter Lucy, and her introduction is something else, I think.
That was a rushed character intro for sure.
Yeah, they ham it up real hard in that first scene with Lucy. I was like, I'm not really feeling this right now, but later on I warmed up to her. Psyduck, however, was the star of the show, if you ask
Setup
me.
carried.
Psyduck carried hard.
They
He
had a
was
lot
so
of good bits
cute.
of humor. Like especially just like that whole segment like back to back of them being in the car and going into the facility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're running away. Like Psyduck just played like a crucial role.
Psyduck was killing
all
me
the
in that car.
jokes and literally the plot.
Getting
So-
Pikachu to massage his feet.
Pikachu
I was
wingmanning for
dying.
Tim was like one of the best like buddy dynamics I've in that movie. I love that.
Yeah, they drew that character element as well as the coffee addiction from the video game. So like in Detective Pikachu on 3DS, Pikachu is a ladies' man. But in this case, rather than having Pikachu hitting on women, they have Pikachu trying to help Tim get a woman. Which I really liked that angle.
Not be as bad as he is.
Yeah.
Wingachu.
Wingachu.
Like, dude, you're messing it up. Yeah, it's more like he's not actively encouraging it. He maybe makes some jokes, but then he like actually like, dude, like you obviously don't know how to handle yourself around a woman. Like,
Yeah.
He's just like giving him the old attaboy.
Like when they were in the cafe and she was like, "Okay, I'm gonna sit in this booth. You sit in that booth, act casual." And then Pikachu was like, "Just have her sit in this booth." And I was like, "Thank you, Pikachu." Like what?
See, that was the point in the movie when I finally realized that they were hamming up Lucy so much on purpose. It's just like it was so intense in that first scene with her. I was like, I don't know what they're doing with this character.
She's trying to be a reporter.
I was having
what
flashbacks.
She thinks a reporter should be.
Yeah, I was like having flashbacks of Dragon Ball Evolution's Bulma for a second. I was like, please don't do this to me.
Yeah, there's just enough cheese in this movie.
Yeah.
I was like, some of the performances are a little bit animated, but like, man, this is animated. Like this is Pokemon, so like having that kind of like nonchalant to like, oh yeah, like my dad died and I guess that's it. Like
there were like some scenes where the performance from Justice Smith was like super strong, and then some other ones where they probably could have went with a better take. But overall, I think he did a good job.
Yeah, like certain scene, like with Lucy, or like some of the jokes or whatever. I was just like, oh yeah, at heart, this is technically a kids movie, but it has the draw to get everyone in the theater. So I was like, there's enough here for me, a 25-year-old guy, and also enough for like the 6-year-old kid that was literally next to me in the theater with his parents, and also his parents who were also freaking out the whole movie, just like I was. So
well, think about it, right? Like, how old were we when the first game came out? So there's people older than us who are still huge fans of Pokemon.
Yeah.
And those people, like I'm 25. At this point, I could have had a kid, technically in the last 7 years.
Pokemon has
but like, there's all these different families where the parents are like, oh yeah, Pikachu. And then like something their kids can get into. And they're old enough, so it's like, okay, they're selling not only tickets to adults, but adults who are also buying tickets for their children, and there's a pretty ravenous fan base. So I feel like this movie's probably got some good legs in terms of the box office.
They had like a whole row of just like
really good
20-year-olds.
Yeah, and it's also like the first like really notable good video game movie. Like, is this it? Is this the end of the curse? Like,
I mean, considering that the Sonic
wasn't
movie
affected like it,
was before this movie, we still have a ways to go. But this is a good first step.
No, it was great. I enjoyed it. I loved it.
I have a lot of faith in Mario now.
Yeah,
especially since that one's going to be animated.
Yeah. I went into this movie very confident, and I'm happy to say that it met my expectations. It did exactly what I expected it to do. It introduced us to the world of Pokemon, showed us how they could turn Pokemon into a movie, and is the kickstart to a brand new franchise of films because the second movie has already been greenlit.
Ooh, okay.
In fact, it was greenlit like a month and a half ago.
Like just Pokemon Universe or another Detective Pikachu film?
Detective Pikachu 2.
Ooh, okay, I'll take it.
Which leaves some questions for me.
How does the dad get back in the Pikachu?
Yeah.
Mewtwo just shows up. Get back in the Pikachu.
Get back in the mom.
See, that was my initial thought, but who knows? There was
Can
also...
we talk about Mr. Mime?
Oh, yes, the Mr. Mime
because
scene.
That scene was so delightful. I was dying to see like the little bit in the trailer, but they just made it so much better in actual
I thought we saw all of it, but it kept going. When he busted out, it was so good.
The gas can.
The matches.
I love it.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my god.
The point at which they make the cut at the end of the scene to move to the next scene, that was like, okay, that's the line, guys. That's the line.
Mr. Mime is dead, guys.
Even Pikachu like recognizes, oh yeah, this is dark. I like it. You know, like they really like, how far can we go with this where parents aren't going to be mad after the fact?
If all of that was real to the Mr. Mime, what is the psychological damage Tim just did to that poor creature?
He tried to run away. He crashed his car. He got burned inside of a box.
Like watching Tim being like, "Oh, okay, there's only one way we can." Like he just started playing along, and Mr. Mime was like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?"
I loved the actual fear in Mr. Mime's eyes, but there was like the 1 second where he broke character because Detective Pikachu hadn't picked up on the bit yet. So he like glares at him for a second and then goes back to being freaked out again.
That killed me.
Yeah, that was so funny. I'm so
the fact
glad
they
they
added
didn't...
the sound effects was a great touch too.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't like give away the whole bit in the trailer, because there's a sizable amount of it in the trailer, but that little extra part at the end was the icing on the cake for me.
Tim figured it out, like that changed the scene for me so much. Like once he opens the door and steps in, 'cause I had no idea where they were even going to go with that.
Yeah, that was super funny.
Delightful.
But yeah, canonically, Mr. Mime is Mime dead. He's alive.
Yeah. So I think, let's see. There's some other comic relief Pokemon. Ludicolo. It was a very quick bit, and it was also in the trailer. But like, Pikachu orders another coffee, and Ludicolo's the barista, and he turns to him and he just says, "Ludicolo." I've laughed at that every time I've seen it.
The look on his face just kills me every time.
Yeah, it's super
I
good.
can't see it not.
The Hi-Hat Cafe, where they drink the coffee and, you know, they kind of have their first talk as a partnership, is a bigger place and a more central place in the video game. But I appreciate that they just had it in there. We got to see Pikachu's coffee addiction. Speaking of Pikachu's coffee addiction, when he's in the apartment the next morning and he's got like all of his clues laid out everywhere, and there's just like coffee cups everywhere.
That was a good scene.
Oh my god, I was
I
dying.
love they're little Pikachu-sized cups too.
Yeah.
Just like those little like shot glasses, paper shot glasses that you can buy, like for Listerine or whatever. Yeah.
And then he finally finds a cup that actually has some coffee left in it, and he takes a sip, and he's got like the little coffee stain on his lip. Oh, I melted on the inside. I've seen this image all over Twitter from that scene from the trailer of him taking a sip, and it just has a caption that says, "He take a sippy." And it perfectly encapsulates the way I feel about Pikachu in this movie. He's so cute.
Everything he does is just like, oh.
When he has the staring contest with Charizard. It's like, don't bother me, kid.
Let's talk about the chemical R thing, because that's really interesting. And also, the first time it was unleashed on the Apom, how that whole thing happened. Me and my girlfriend were watching that time happen. We were like, "You're really gonna just open an unknown vial of something on a desk?" And it was like.
And then he opens the window and infects all of those Apom. Like, Tim, what are you doing, man?
Poke drugs.
I guess, like, purple smog is not uncommon in the Pokemon world. Like, you'll think of characters like coughing and just poison types because they breathe that stuff. Well, not that stuff, but that color of smoke. So it's probably more common. So I guess he can get away with it. He probably just thought it was like poison or something.
I thought it was going to be a Team Rocket thing.
He probably thought it was poison and then just opens it.
I meant after the fact. What were you saying, David?
But yeah, I thought it was for sure going to be like a Team Rocket implementation because of the R, but I guess not. But since
that might be something they open up to in the
second movie,
Yeah, I was going to say it's probably a reference to Team Rocket because Team Rocket created Mewtwo.
Yeah, that's what kind of what I was thinking. I was like, oh, R? Like, is this Team Rocket? Is this what we're getting? Are we going to get more of this? And then it never happens. So I was like, okay, maybe it's just like a reference.
Yeah, like we mentioned earlier, they made that one allusion to Mewtwo escaping from the Kanto region 20 years ago, which is, like a direct saying, hey, this is canon to this movie universe. And one scene from the video game involves Tim walking out of a building and seeing Pikachu, and he starts talking to him, but he can't understand him. And Pikachu's just saying all the Pikachu stuff that you normally hear. And then eventually, Detective Pikachu walks up and he's like, Tim, you didn't really mix me up for this guy, did you? And he starts talking to him, and the Pikachu is then telling Detective Pikachu about what he's up to in Rhyme City. And Detective Pikachu's like, oh, you guys are going to make it real far. Just make sure to tell him to be the very best like no one ever was. So in the Detective
that was
Pikachu,
Ash's Pikachu.
Yeah, in the Detective Pikachu game, it takes place in the anime canon. Because like Ash and friends exist in that world. So I was wondering if they were going to take that angle with this movie, but they definitely like stayed away from pretty much all of that.
Can we talk about that scene where Pikachu's just singing the Pokemon theme song really sadly?
Everyone in the theater was dying.
That was so incredible.
I was talking with Josiah before we saw the movie because we were like, all right, so the Pokemon theme song is going to be in there somewhere, but it's either going to be like a ringtone, something in the background, or something like that. And it happens twice.
Yeah.
It's like the news
station.
broadcast. And then Pikachu singing it, and I was like, yes, called it.
I love how upfront and direct they were with it, though. Like,
yeah.
Hey, he's just singing it.
He's got to build himself back up, man. He was going through some emotional labor, and he just couldn't handle it. And that was him doing some emotional lifting.
Whenever I'm crying, I sing the Pokemon theme song to bring me back. It's comforting,
So, there were some scenes I think maybe dragged a little bit. The Torterra, the giant Torterra.
That was really weird. In retrospect,
that was so long.
Yeah. I love how they just took all that time to stand up and then they sat back down.
Yeah, I was like, what is this, Inception? What the heck is happening? Like
maybe that's setting up for the sequel, Maybe
when Torterras attack.
No, like maybe it plays a role in kind of setting like a larger stage. Maybe there's a bigger conspiracy, above what there was. And who knows what that could be, but like Rocket. It kind of makes it feel like really ominous, like, oh man, these are the kind of experiments they're doing on Pokemon.
Yeah.
Without that future context, it makes that scene kind of seem like it didn't serve any purpose to the plot.
Except to just be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it shows, like Logan said, what the experiments are really doing to Pokemon, but I think we would have gotten that from the climax of the movie.
Uh-huh.
Ditto.
Oh, yeah, ditto. That caught me off guard. Did not see that coming.
What was I about to say? Oh, yeah, so when they were going to the base, right? No, actually, rewind some more. The police chief is actually in real life someone who was in charge of Pokemon in real life, right?
Ken Watanabe?
Yeah, he works on Pokemon, doesn't he?
I thought Ken Watanabe was an actor.
I gotta check because I think they said somebody who works on Pokemon was in the movie, and he was the police chief or something. Anyway, but when they were talking to him about like his dad's case and stuff like that, and then they showed him the video. Like he was like, "No, Tim, your dad's dead. We have video proof." And I was just like, "Oh, okay, I guess."
Oh, but Ken Watanabe is in Godzilla and Godzilla King of the Monsters. So maybe those large mutated Pokemon are actually kaiju. And this is like the Detective Pikachu 2 is actually going to be a crossover with Godzilla.
If they wanted to throw one of those in Godzilla, I wouldn't be mad. It just stands up and it sits back down. Godzilla's like, I see you, I respect you, keep up the good work, and then goes back to battling other kaiju.
That base infiltration It was one of the sloppiest base infiltrations I've ever seen in my life. They
It was
didn't
so
check for
reckless. They didn't even consider,
cameras.
like,
They went through the front door. There was no one there. Like, I was like, this is sloppy. Okay, I'll just let it happen.
And then the Ditto who transformed into Rob, whenever he would show up and like look at Tim or do something conniving, he would just do like this weird crooked smile.
Yeah.
That reminded me like so much of like B action movies.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god. When he shows up and like recaptures Mewtwo and he's just like standing on top of the cliff and he does that dumb
Smiles
smile
and
with the
walks
sunglasses on. I was like,
It's like, who is this
stop.
guy?
Ditto was trying his best, okay?
When I
and
found
only
out
has
it was
his 80s
Ditto.
action movies.
When
Yeah,
I
that's
found
actually
out
a
it was
very
Ditto,
practical
it
use.
like it validated all of that for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, well, the first time we saw that Ditto transform into the person that pushed the wheelchair away, I was like, that's actually a very smart and practical use of owning it in all reality. Like, that's really smart. Like,
Yeah, no, it completely caught me off guard.
but also, when we saw those eyes, I was like, there's a child next to me, and I was like, if I was a kid, I would have nightmares for weeks after that. Like, that was
I'm an adult
terrifying.
and I might still have nightmares over it.
That was disgusting.
I'm still trying to figure out why the R gas made Ditto melt.
Yeah.
Genetics, you know?
I'm
What
like,
can you
why
do?
didn't he just go crazy?
You know they were thinking about having him just be a hybrid thing, like
Well-
Double, where he's just a whole bunch of things combined. They were like, nah, that's too scary. Cut it. Cut it.
It's because he's gelatinous, right? Like he's
When
got
a gas meets a
he's
gel
got a
and
hard job
chemical
holding himself
change.
together, and so when he just goes nuts, like he can't Ditto can't control that, so he's just all
Sometimes your body just changes and you're a man now.
Oh, the one of the things that made me really hype was during the final battle when Pikachu shows up and he starts bouncing on the balloons. And he like stands on one and they do this really cool camera shot where like the camera whips behind Pikachu and you see Mewtwo coming at him. And like the Pokemon battle theme starts playing and I was like,
Yeah.
this is what I've been waiting an hour and 30 minutes for. Yeah, they never lean too hard like into like the game stuff and the anime stuff, and I really appreciate that. They really let this movie just kind of be its own thing while also referencing it subtly and more directly with like the balloons, which are obviously based off the anime design.
Pokefloat.
I was thinking Pokefloats, yeah.
That was my only thoughts. Hey, Pokefloats made it into this movie.
Mhm.
but they did it just enough.
not into Smash.
My question for you guys, I guess, leaving the conversation, is what do you want from a future Pokemon movie? The sequel to Detective Pikachu or otherwise?
Dude, the sky's the limit, man. They already got how Pokemon look. All they got to do is either make more or just like give us an original story. Like any Pokemon movie's plot is fine. Just take Ash and friends out of it and just give us regular people. Like if we just did like a Pokemon Generations type thing, like I would be all over for whatever they do with the Pokemon universe now, to be honest.
I'd actually like to
Mm.
see a new trainer just like on their own journey. Maybe not like anyone from a game or anyone from the anime, just someone new and
Just an original, yeah.
and just
So
kind of
here's-
explore that world.
Here's what needs to happen. I'm in favor of a post-apocalyptic narrative in which the only surviving Pokemon or the most prominent surviving Pokemon are actually Squirtles. And so essentially it just becomes this water world where Squirtles reign true, and obviously through their evolutions evolve into these incredibly intelligent sentient beings, so much so that they build an international coalition to bring about world peace, and then explore the rest of the universe. That's what I want.
So,
Start scripting that out, man. I'd watch that. I'd be all over it.
Legendary
Just
Pictures.
wait, it'll happen.
We've heard that Legendary is planning 2 additional spin-off movies. I don't think counting Detective Pikachu 2. And the rumor is that one will feature Mewtwo. So my guess is that very quick line about Mewtwo escaping from Kanto 20 years ago is a hint that the next movie, or one of those movies, will be a adaptation of Mewtwo Strikes Back.
I'd be into that. I wouldn't mind seeing what he was up to for 20 years.
Yeah, that would be cool
Yeah.
too.
It doesn't look like
I'm
he
also
aged a
down
day.
with a Star Wars crossover. So
The other suggestion is that it will be an adaptation of Red and Blue.
Yeah, I've heard about that one too.
that would be a good one. I would watch. I'd watch both of those.
I'm also gung ho for that Pokemon Mystery Dungeon idea. Just get more
Oh, yeah.
really good voice actors and actors to voice Pokemon. Just give us a whole adventure.
Yeah,
Be
it's
great.
the easiest way to get Pokemon talking.
Mm-hmm.
And Ryan Reynolds voices Pikachu.
Ryan Reynolds
Them.
is now the voice of Pikachu, officially. But
Except in these other movies, Pikachu can't actually talk to humans, so he just has to say Pika Pika.
Can we go back to the what was the anniversary Pokemon movie where Pikachu talks? Let's just go back and have Ryan Reynolds
Pokemon,
dub over that.
Pokemon
I
Choose
choose you.
Yeah.
Just
Have
have
Ryan Reynolds dub over it,
that.
and then that movie is
Yeah.
perfect again.
That would be fine. I'd take that.
I do want to make a quick mention that they got the original voice actress of Pikachu to reprise the role for this Hollywood-made movie, and I really appreciated that.
Oh,
For
nice.
that like one moment.
2 moments actually. When Pikachu talks to the humans towards the beginning, and then during the flashback,
Yeah.
when
Wait.
Mewtwo puts
Yep.
Harry into Pikachu, yeah.
Didn't he also do it at
Yeah.
the end when
Oh yeah,
his
he
dad
did.
finally came back?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yep.
3 times.
Cute.
They went big.
They do that. They do that fake out, and Ryan Reynolds walks up and like, oh, it was him talking. Yeah. So overall,
Out of any of the Pokemon that you saw in that movie,
what?
You cut out, David. David's just gone.
He cut out
He's
like
not here.
Max
Oh.
cut out.
sorry. I was gonna say that out of any Pokemon that you saw in the movie, which one would you want to own?
Growlithe.
Snorlax.
I really like how this.
Dang it, actually I changed my mind.
Sneasel's look.
Snorlax.
The Sneasels.
Yeah.
Squirtle.
Oh no, Pancham and Pangoro. Yeah.
Actually, the
Squirtle.
Bulbasaurs, that scene where they're like leading him on, they looked so happy, and it was just so delightful to
Oh
me.
my God, those
I've never loved
Bulbasaurs were
Bulbasaur
adorable.
more before in my life.
Yes.
That was really cute.
I guess
love-
that'd be my team right there. I'd have a Bulbasaur, a Growlithe, and a Snorlax.
We got to see
You're a Snorlax.
Blastoises and
Aw.
Charizards. Was there a Venusaur in there anywhere?
There was not.
Wow,
There's Bulbasaur.
there were a lot of Bulbasaurs.
They were
They
great.
got the short end of the stick though. They didn't get their Venusaur cameo.
But there were more of them, more Bulbasaurs than the rest.
Yes, and they were very cute.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
there's that whole segment where they're like, there's this mass of Bulbasaurs. Like, hey, we've come to help. Like, whoa.
I thought they were gonna like lead him to a Venusaur,
Yeah, I
Like
thought they were
in
gonna
the
do
anime?
something. Yeah.
to that
Now this-
secret
Then it
place where they all
was-
go to evolve.
They were just
Mhm.
taking him to Mewtwo.
Turns out Mewtwo was the good guy.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out those Bulbasaurs were all the clones from the end of Pokemon the first movie.
Yo.
You did.
So yeah, overall, I'm fairly pleased with this movie. Like we've talked about, it's not perfect, but it's definitely serviceable and a great start to a new franchise of live-action Pokemon films.
It's better than most video game live action adaptations.
I would argue
I
it might
didn't
be the
feel
best one.
bad. I didn't
I
feel
don't think
bad
you'd argue
spending
it.
like $15 on tickets after fees, and then also like another $14 on a soda and.
I'd totally
popcorn.
go see it again, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm planning to go check it out again. Because I want to make
See
sure
it on those $5 Tuesdays.
I want to make sure that this movie, makes its money.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be an Avengers Endgame, but I do think it'll be interesting to see how this turns out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wait, are you saying it hasn't already grossed like over 2 billion?
Yes.
It's close, but not quite there.
Dream Drop's asking, did they establish that normal animals exist in this world too? They do not exist
They
in
do
this
not.
world. That was actually one of the points of conversation we had. So, getting away from Detective Pikachu a little bit and talking about some other news, Dina is teaming up with the Pokemon Company for a mobile game. This will be another Pokemon mobile game. We have a lot of them.
Wow.
And Dina has been the one who's been collaborating with Nintendo on their mobile games, so you can expect a certain level of quality from this, just offhand. But it's not slated till
Dina
March 2020.
did they do Super Mario Run?
Yes. And Animal Crossing, and I think they're doing Mario Kart Tour,
Oh,
Fire Emblem Fates, Heroes.
That'll
So
be interesting.
Dina is doing very well right now.
Yeah.
So just-
And then we had Psy Games do Dragalia Lost.
Okay.
So yeah, that's coming March 2020. Some quick news. Tetris 99 is getting the Big Block DLC. It's a $10 DLC, which will feature some new modes, some offline modes as well. It's been data mined, so we already know what the new modes are. There's going to be
thank you, Internet.
There's going to be like a 50 versus 50 team-based mode.
Oh, okay.
And this is included in the Big Block DLC?
From what I understand, yes.
Okay.
And what else was there? It was just like a basic offline versus 98 CPUs.
Yeah, there's a CPU battle and then a marathon mode as well.
And it's also like a different art style, like that classic Tetris art style, like Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, or whatever.
Oh,
You
yeah,
actually
they have
unlock
like
that
a-
by participating in the current Maximus Cup.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you don't need to spend the $10 on here. This was kind of controversial.
Yeah, I've had
'cause
thoughts about this.
We're already.
I have some
playing-
thoughts, probably, and this is probably odd coming from me, but I kind of don't hate this.
Yeah, it's fine if you don't. And I don't hate it either. I just think it's kind of a strange choice. Given
I
that
can
the
it's
agree.
not
game-
I
for
can agree
me.
on that.
And it's a game that's included in a paid service. So we should just get those updates for free. You think they'd be covered already with everyone's money?
That's kind of where my mind
But
went.
I mean, if you like Tetris like that, then go for it.
But I mean, at the very same time, like it's not like we don't deal with worse monetization models like literally daily. Like there are games that you buy and like you like don't have access to certain things because
And in addition to
pay
that,
extra
it's
anyway.
like, you get the premiere mode for free. And if you like Tetris that much, you have the option to invest more money into it. Like, from a business perspective, it makes sense that they'll make some money back on it, but like you don't
Yeah.
have to buy it. It's not gonna affect you probably, but it does kind of
and
hurt.
if you wanted just some classic Tetris, because I mean that's the thing here is like it kind of gives you a place here, practice, and so
Yeah.
if you don't want it, but if you don't want to like have to learn through, oh, here I accidentally got into a match with a Tetris grandmaster and I stood no chance. You can actually kind of work out and workshop some of that stuff if you don't already have like Tetris on your Switch, which I think only is in the form of Puyo Puyo
There's
Tetris,
Puyo Puyo
Puyo Puyo.
Tetris. Yeah.
Yeah, other than Tetris 99.
That's kind of sad because there's like 4 versions of Puyo Puyo on Switch now, and Tetris is just locked to that game.
Well, like you think about a lot of these other Tetris games, like you're spending, $20, on the title, whereas you're spending 2 to 10 here. I mean, obviously that's not factoring in the fact that you're already paying for the online service, but also the online service is a lot cheaper too. So I mean, if you're gonna complain about this, like, where's everybody complaining about the fact that PSN costs $60 and that even with even with free to play games, there are worse and more predatory monetization models. And I'd say like if I just have to pay $10 for a little extra content, like, and if you love Tetris, I think that's great. At least they're giving us the option.
Yeah.
What's your perspective on this, Paul? Look like you're thinking.
I think I kind of align with Logan. It could be a lot worse. It's still weird to me that they would have paid DLC for a game that's free, but I think that like $10 is reasonable. If you really like the game and you want more of it, it's fair.
Yeah, I mean, in the end, the option is there if that's something you're interested in. Probably not for me, but maybe if they add even more content on top of that, I'll bite, because I do like Tetris 99 quite a bit, actually, and I was never really a Tetris fan, so there's that. We've also learned, speaking of Switch Online, the NES Classics editions for this month include Donkey Kong Jr. versus Excite Bike and Clu Clu Land.
Versus Excite.
Yep.
Wow.
I don't know much about versus Excite Bike, I gotta say.
I'm gonna guess it's Excite Bike, but versus.
There are
yeah,
two
it looks like
games
it's
for
got
this.
some different elements about it, other than just the fact that like, oh, it's competitive, you know.
In the Versus series of NES games were actually arcade games.
Oh, okay.
For
Yeah,
clarity's
so the
sake.
fact, do they ever put the actual verses on the NES, or is this technically just an arcade game?
Looks like it was released on the Famicom Disk System in 1988.
So are we getting disk system games technically?
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I think this is the arcade version, but this is a first for us.
So technically, this isn't an NES game.
Well, I guess if you put it, I guess we don't know. Maybe it probably is the Famicom Disk version then.
I'm in the demographic of, we know you have SNES games on the back burner. Just start trickling out Super Mario World and Link to the Past already. We're over NES games. Let's start getting those SNES out here, please.
Oh, I'm sorry,
That's
guys.
just me.
There was an NES version of versus Excite Bike,
Yeah, I'm looking at it here. I was
and
just
apparently
getting
it
to that
plays
point.
differently than the two previous versions. So it sounds like we're just
Well-
getting Excite Bike again.
You're probably
Yeah, I'll take it. I like Excite Bike.
Yeah, it's fun.
But at the same time, like they keep adding stuff to the service, like, and you look back, and I think like if you include, there was another article I read. I think if you include like the special versions, there's like 40 games on the service now.
Yeah,
And
there's
for
a good amount of games on there.
For a Netflix of video games, that's pretty good. There's not much to complain about.
And it'll keep increasing. Like eventually they'll stop putting up new NES games. But like at what point? Like how many classics are we gonna get on this service before they start adding? Again, more consoles.
Yeah,
Mm,
I'm
I hear
hoping that's
something-
something we hear about at E3 this year.
Yeah.
Even though that might not be the right place for that kind of news update.
Yeah.
A man can dream. In addition to that, Biomutant seems like it's coming to Switch. This is coming from EB Games Canada. They have a listing for it. They could also mean nothing.
I look forward to hearing more about that game.
I've been following this game for a little bit, and so to see that it might be coming to the Switch is like a really exciting prospect, because I mean, it's an action RPG, so I imagine there's a good amount of gameplay. Also, I just love the colors and the fact that you're this mutant in this mutant world, and it caught my eye when they initially announced it, and it was like, oh, like, hey, this is something that's coming your way. So again, to hear that it's might be coming to Switch is an exciting prospect.
Speaking of coming to Switch, it also seems like Devil May Cry is on the way. They tweeted that out on their official Twitter, coming this summer. I'm a little bummed because I just bought Devil May Cry for PC, and that port is garbage. It's got frame stutters. Well, if they charge me $20 for it, I probably won't buy it again. But
with that attitude,
yeah,
it's okay. There are some games that just like are oddly priced in general. Like I think Final Fantasy 12 on Switch is like $50.
What?
Yeah,
And isn't like Final Fantasy IX $20.99 for some reason?
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Square Enix is getting their money.
no idea.
But
No idea.
But it's weird. It's really weird and very unsettling that Capcom is putting Devil May Cry 1 alone on the eShop when we know good and darn well that HD collection with 1, 2, and 3 is out there. That means they're just gonna slowly trickle out those Devil May Cry games, and we're just like,
People buy them. They're like, "Oh, new game because it's on the Switch."
And I think
yeah, and we're just like, we have Bayonetta 1 and 2 already. Just give us Dante. Like,
I
you
think
know
it's
we
gonna-
want it.
I think it's going to culminate in Devil May Cry 5 being available in Japan as a cloud-based game,
Probably.
because it also runs on the RE engine, and they've done it with Resident Evil 7, so it just makes
Mhm.
sense. that they
Capcom's
do it.
got a really, really crappy like sales model they're doing with Nintendo console, like with the Switch, and like
I
no
wouldn't
one
say that's
appreciates.
just Capcom. That's like every developer. I mean, why is anybody paying $60 for Skyrim in 2019?
Yeah,
Like, are you
there's
kidding me? Even in 2017, what the heck are you doing?
there's an unseen Switch tax that just comes with putting your games on Switch.
Because they know they can get away with it.
Yeah, it's like you're
Like,
paying a
that's the
premium price.
unfortunate reality. That's the allure of the Switch.
You're paying that premium price for the ability to play portably.
Yeah. That being said, like at least a lot of these games are getting released as new on the Switch. May not long afterwards, so it's not that bad. But some of these older re-releases, and not saying that like all of them are exclusive to just the Switch in terms of those problems, but certainly the Switch has more of that.
Yeah. And I think over time we'll see that Switch tax kind of fall away, because I do anticipate at some point in the future that Nintendo's competitors will jump on this hybrid console train in some way.
Oh, right.
And, Sony always follows in Nintendo's footsteps. Xbox has been doing it more recently, though Xbox has been going on in their own direction that I've kind of really been liking lately. So I kind of want to see them keep doing that, but that being said, it sounds like Game Pass is coming to Switch anyway, which is great news for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if that comes, oh man, what?
Take my money.
It's a good deal.
It's a very good deal, yeah. So I think that's gonna wrap things up for today. For today's Nintendo stuff, we had a lot to talk about for Detective Pikachu, and I still want to talk about Detective Pikachu, to be honest. So I'll probably be mulling around on it with my wife for the next week.
Not to mention, we have a breakdown podcast that should probably happen pretty soon.
Yeah, we're overdue.
Which we can just continue talking more about it, because if that's what we want to do, then that's what we do.
So some things to talk about next week. For next week's show, that's when we're planning to do our E3 predictions. I can't give you that as a hard date yet. Still working it out with Roger. He just got back from Japan, and he's a little jet lagged right now, so I'm trying to let him get some sleep. See that tweet from him about playing Cuphead at like 3 or 4 a.m. because he couldn't sleep? I felt bad for him.
I do that a lot.
So yeah, we will let you know once
Not
that's
Cuphead, though.
more set in stone. But that's the plan for now, is to do E3 predictions then, which is great timing too, because we now know that Nintendo, what they're doing. They are doing those 2 tournaments on June the 8th, and they're just doing their Nintendo Direct at 11 a.m. Central Time on June 11th.
Yeah, guys, we have like literally like a month, like until it happens, until we find out essentially what's going to happen for the rest of the year. Honestly, that's what I'm anticipating, or at least a pretty solid outline of what that's going to be like. I'm very
Yeah,
excited.
Paul and I were talking about it last night. Like, it really snuck up on us.
Yeah, I still can't believe it's only a month. It really hasn't sunk in yet.
It's been
Yeah, do
3
you guys
months since I
remember
decided I was going to
yesterday?
E3.
Do you guys remember yesterday? E3 2018.
I remember E3 2018 really well, because Logan was without internet. We got our YouTube live streaming terminated from our channel.
Right before Nintendo.
Oh my god, that was so
Or-
painful.
Is that what happened? I don't remember that.
Yeah, it was. We made it through Ubisoft. Or wait, no, we made it even further than that, right?
Oh yeah,
did
because
one
you
more
guys
after
did
that.
all the coverage for that.
We did like
'Cause obviously-
all the conferences, and then we got it shut down right before Nintendo.
Yep, our YouTube channel got its live streaming pulled off of it because we live streamed the Ubisoft event, and
We
Ubisoft
won't
did
make
not
that
go through the
mistake
proper
again.
channels to get their music okayed to be restreamed. But they quickly corrected that for us. Unfortunately, it didn't happen until after Nintendo's presentation.
What a mess.
Yeah.
What
Yep.
a mess.
Yeah, we really missed you during that week, Logan.
Yeah, I know. Hopefully, like next year we can just all be in the same place for all this stuff.
We do have a fancy
but-
table for watching E3 as a group.
Ooh.
Yeah, yeah. So sooner or later, I mean that'll be like a regular thing. We'll do E3 every month.
It's time for E3 2019 July edition. So yeah, we'll get you the details on that once we have them. Look forward to the next Breakdown podcast. We will also try and get that scheduled for you. Even if E3 predictions don't happen next weekend, there will be a Nintendo Stuff podcast at the same time on the same day. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, we're getting better at doing it ahead of time. And then
yeah.
I post on Twitter that the show that we're doing right now is at 11 p.m. and not a.m. I like during the show I was like, oh no. I had a quick quote tweet to fix it, but the damage was done.
It happens. But yeah, we will see you guys next time. Oh, quickly, David, why don't you tell us where we can find you? David?
Did he make? I'm guessing.
Oh, sorry. That's my cue. You can find me at ConmanRDW pretty much everywhere: Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. I do convention-based videos, nerdy gaming stuff. I also work with these guys on the often. So, yeah.
Did your Twitter handle change? Okay, no, it's the same. I was like, I hope that's not wrong.
No, you can. You can just look up ConmanRDW and I'll pop up.
Okay, good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, make sure to go follow him, subscribe to him. He's a great guy. And we will see you next time. So don't break your backs. Break in the games. But for now, break time is over.
Break your backs.
Bye.